Hello, Sheila.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It is time to get underway with our Township of Douro-Dummer Council meeting here on the 19th of April. And we say hello to everyone. A reminder that the meeting is being recorded and is being presented live on YouTube. A reminder to use your little hand symbol if you wish to speak. It's a much more efficient way of keeping everyone in the right order, so please do that. I'll now call the roll so everyone is aware of who is attending tonight's meeting. Deputy Mayor Moher.
Here.
Councillor Watt.
Here.
Councillor Landsman.
I'm here.
And Councillor Watson.
I'm also here.
Okay, we do have a full contingent of council in attendance. Also with us, our CAO, Alana Arthurs. Alana. Our clerk, Martina Chade-Hartwig. Martina, thank you. Our treasurer, Paul Creamer, is here. Paul, good to see you. Our fire chief, Chuck Pedersen. Chuck, are you here? Oh, you are there with your uniform. And our manager of recreation facilities, Mike Mood. Mike, you are there as well. So thank you, and we'll be calling on staff as we need them throughout the meeting. I will officially call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock, and we respectfully acknowledge that we're on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe, and we offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care for and their teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. Please join us for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest with any of the matters we're dealing with tonight? Okay, seeing no hands. A motion, please, to adopt the agenda as presented for tonight's meeting, then, please. Councillor Watson. And seconded by Councillor Landsman. All in favor? That is approved. Adoption of the minutes from April 5th and April 7th. Those minutes are before you. Councillor Watt will move that. And a seconder, please. Councillor Landsman, all in favor. That is approved. The consent agenda. One motion to receive that agenda. If there's anything you would like to pull out of the agenda, we will move it to item 12. So 7.1 to 7.5. One motion, please, for the consent agenda. Sheila will make that move, and a seconder from Heather. All in favor. Carl, did you have something?
Yes, I did. 7.4, the passing of the education development charge. I noticed on the Catholic board are looking for, well, any range from 362 to 524. And the public board have already published theirs, and I think theirs is between $4,000 and $5,000. And I just wondered, is that not going to cause an administrative nightmare at building application time when you're trying to determine which one applies? I don't even have to know, but it seems to be quite a range, quite a difference in the amounts to be collected for development fee between the two school boards.
Okay, comment made. If we'd like to bring that up under item 12 for any further discussion, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Did we get, Madam Clerk, did we get a motion for the consent agenda then? That is approved?
We did.
Yes.
I think we just need to vote on it. I didn't see a show of hands.
Okay, all in favor? That motion is approved. Okay, other business staff reports. We move first of all to the chiller failure at the Warsaw Community Center. Mike, I'm going to let you address this one, please.
Yes, through your worship, as a lot of you guys already know, we had a chiller failure. It's a main component of our refrigeration system. Fail on December 29th. After staff indicated an ammonia leak, they were able to isolate the area with Simcoe refrigeration and contain the area. And after further investigation, they realized that the source of the leak was from our chiller. Given these are not, they're supposed to be lasting 20 to 25 years. Given the abnormal situation that we had, we approached our insurer after we looked into warranty and it was not available for that product. We went to our insurers and after working with them and Simcoe Refrigeration and just tell them that we've kept up on our regular maintenance schedules, testing to prove that this wasn't caused from negligence. They had decided that they would cover.
You're freezing up, Mike. I'm sorry.
Them at their expense. Video down. So they're going to be covering this at their expense. So the financial impact of this would be the chiller replacement of $99,400 plus HST, flushing of the contaminated brine, $25,464 plus each additional flush that is required. Until they get in there and flush the system, they won't know how many each additional flushes will be needed. They have to get it down to a proper parts per million before they can reintroduce the new chiller, and that would be at 9,344 plus HST. They'll also be reimbursing us for our loss of revenue for that duration of $26,122.85. This amount was based on the times that we would actually be open, not during the lockdown, provincial lockdown. They will not cover that. So I guess the recommendation is that council receives the facilities report 2022-03, April 19th, regarding Warsaw's chiller failure, and that the council agrees to pay our insurance deductible of $10,000 and proceed to have the Warsaw shell and tube chiller replaced.
Okay, thank you for being right to the point, Mike. Carl, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the report. I find it very unusual that the insurance company is paying this after 9 or 10 or more years of use. But certainly it's helpful. But I guess it will be reflected in our future premiums of insurance, because our insurance is based on incidents. So I'm sure they'll record it as an incident, and it will be reflected in increased rates. So thanks for the report.
Go ahead, Tom. You're muted.
Put the hand down, forgot to unmute. Sorry about that. Yes, thank you very much, Mike, for that report. I'm glad to hear that we're not going to be totally on the hook for this for ratepayers, because that's a lot of money, that's for sure. And like I say again, so I would like to make a motion that we follow the recommendation, pay the deductible, and move ahead and get this fixed.
We have a seconder to that motion. Sheila, does anyone?
Yes, I would second it if I may ask a question of Mike.
You've got the applause sign up there.
Well, it's close.
Close. Go ahead.
Yes, through you to Mike. How long would it be out of service, Mike, when it's being serviced?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Sheila. Right now, it's a good thing. Simcoe does have 3 of these currently in stock. If they didn't, we were currently looking at a 9 to 14 week delivery time on one of those. So we would have been pushing the end of August, early September start time. But with them having it in stock, we are bypassing that wait time.
Any other comments on the motion that's on the floor? Tom, speak to it, please.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Mike, will this give any effect or down any time for other things we have going on at the arena over the summer, or is this something that they can work on as we're doing rentals?
Through you, Mayor, to Councillor Watt. No, it shouldn't impact anything. Most of our rentals in the community center are in the evenings. Most of that work is confined to the compressor room. They may need to move a couple things into the facility, but that won't hinder any potential rentals.
Any other comments on the motion that's on the floor? We'll call for the vote then. All in favor? That motion is approved. Item 9.3, the lower level renovations that are going on at the municipal office. Elena, I'll ask you just for a quick update. Go ahead.
Sure, Mr. Mayor. I believe though 9.2, the bunker gear is.
Oh, sorry. Well, let's do that while you've got it in your mind, and then I'll go to Chuck.
Sure. So unfortunately, Brian isn't able to be with us this evening, so I'm happy to speak to the report if there's any questions. We'll just read you his recommendation here. The recommendation is that the Building Department 2022-04 report dated April 19th, 2022 regarding municipal office lower level renovations be received, and that council directs staff to enter into a contract with Tom's Contracting to undertake the renovation work as outlined in the RFP, Building 2022-01.
And we only received the one response, is that right, Elena?
That is correct.
It's kind of funny.
We did extend the closing date because there appeared to be some additional interest, but unfortunately we only received one.
Okay, any questions about the report before I ask for a motion, please? Go ahead, Carl.
Yes, a couple of questions. And Alana, you may not know this, but I would be interested in how many tenders were sent out.
I don't know exactly how many. I'm sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know how many he actually had sent out. I know we did have it on our website. It goes via Twitter, and he did say that he shared it with some of the contractors that he thought would be able to do the work. I don't know how many though.
Okay, and I assume this capital cost is actually covered by building permit fees. Pardon me.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Absolutely, it will be all covered through that.
Good to hear that. Okay, anybody else? Someone want to make a motion, please? Carl, go ahead. You're muted, Carl.
I'll move the recommendation.
Seconder, please, to that motion. Heather. All in favor? That motion is approved. Okay, Chuck, you're up next. I was just seeing if you were paying attention or not to see if I could catch you. This is about bunker gear for the fire department. Go ahead, Chuck.
Thank you. I'm going to leave my camera off because I don't know if it's everybody else or me that's freezing. So
yeah, there's a lot of freezing going on. I thought it was because of the arena's chiller, but obviously not.
Could be. Well, it's based on the weather. It looks like it. So we had a healthy recruitment for this year, and although we have some gear in stock, it's not able to be resized. We don't know who we're going to get when we do our recruitment. They can only modify that gear up to a certain extent. And we did have a higher recruitment for this year than we anticipated when we started our budget. So in order to get our new recruits into full service when they graduate in June out of their training gear, we're going to require an additional 3 sets of gear. The prices are going up like everything else. So we would need to have an additional $8,500 in order to order the required set to get everybody in compliant gear that should be in compliant gear.
Okay, questions, comments, motion? Sheila?
Based on the fact that through you, Mr. Mayor, to Chuck, based on the fact that they need the gear, I would suggest that the motion or the reference be approved. It's unneeded, it's essential.
You're making that motion then to approve?
I would move the recommendation.
Do we have a seconder to that motion? Carl?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That motion is approved. Chuck, thank you very much. And 9.4 is the extension of current township land leases. Martina, I believe you're in charge of this subject.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation that's before council tonight is that the report 2022-25 dated April 19th, 2022 regarding the various pieces of land that the township leases out be received. The leases for Harry Ellis, the Knox Family Trust, Peter Milne, and the Stony Lake Market all be extended for a 1-year term with the same conditions that currently exist, and that staff be directed to prepare and execute the agreements under the delegated authority bylaw.
Okay, you've heard the background. Do you have any questions? Carl?
Yes, I was just curious about whether any of these people that rent property from the Douro-Dummer are behind in their payments from previous years.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, 3 of the accounts are completely paid up and 1 is in accounts receivable being actioned on.
I wonder if possibly we should exclude the one that's out until that has occurred rather than get complicated and approve it.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe we would collect the payment before we would re-sign the document.
Paul, might you have any comments on that?
Sure, through you, Your Worship. We did kind of look into the status of all these, knowing that this question was coming and this report was coming today. And there is one outstanding. We believe that there was some miscommunication on the email address being used in the first invoice that was sent out. It was sent out again. Now, like Martina said, though, we will, before we grant any access to the property for the next year, we will ensure that the previous year's is collected.
Okay, Carl?
Yes, I am satisfied with that.
Okay, Tom, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Could I just get a brief, I don't know about the Warsaw Crow's Landing all that well, Matt. I see it's quite a substantial difference in the 2 prices. Can you tell me what each of them entails to make it a different price like that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't have a map handy, but the space that is leased by the Crow's Landing, by the Stony Lake Market, is almost twice to 3 times the size as the location that the Knox family rents. I can find a map and send that out to council after this meeting for your information.
Okay, can I have a motion, please? Sheila?
I'll make a motion to follow the recommendation.
And a seconder to Sheila's motion. Tom?
Yes, I'll second it. Thank you.
All in favor? That motion is approved. Okay, we're moving right along. Committee minutes, other reports. Carl, do you have any update on county council matters?
Yes, a couple issue. just to be brief, the development fee bylaw was approved. Pardon me, the bylaw I don't think was approved, but council approved to proceed with the development fee at our last meeting, special meeting last week. And it is a healthy amount. It's $10,500 and some dollars per lot. So, but it did get the majority of council to vote for it. There was much debate, but that is behind us now. County OP, the open houses, unfortunately, I was only able to sit in on one of them. And I was surprised the one I sat in, where there was a fair number of people attending. So there's generally a fair amount of interest. So the next item, I just want to call your attention to the county awards night. It's Friday, May the 27th at 6:30 in Cavan, Millbrook at the new community center there. So please put it on your calendar, and there will be a number of people recognized from Douro-Dummer. I think that's the extent of my report. There's many other items, but that's the major items anyway. Thank you.
Questions, Carl? Motion to receive the report then. Heather and Tom, all in favor? That is approved. In your package is the report on the capital project status that Alana has graciously provided us. Do you have any questions on that report? Simply a motion to receive it, just to keep us up to date on the various projects and where they sit. A motion, please. Carl? Seconder? Heather? All in favor? That is approved. Planning Committee minutes of the 1st of April. Motion to receive and accept those minutes. Tom? Sheila? Any questions or comments on those minutes? All in favor? That motion is approved. Okay, we move ahead right into bylaws, and this is the user fee amended bylaw. And you see all the items are in your package, and this is done each year as an update, the various fees and charges the township comes up with for the various services that we offer. Paul, do you want to comment on that first? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. We aren't entirely sure. We're having some dialogue here. Not entirely sure what happened. There was a report to go along with this bylaw change. However, the information that was contained in the report, the table that explains the changes, does summarize, exactly what's being changed. So I will just speak to a couple changes here. So we did say when we passed the bylaw in December that we would come back with some updated rates for the new season, the new arena season for September. After we passed the bylaw, there were some of the fees and some of the structures of the fees that staff commented on and found that they weren't necessarily the most concise or most clear and easiest for the public to understand, and even some of the staff to understand what fee should be charged when and how much. So some of the changes in front of you are to make things easier to administer and easier to charge, but also to make things a little bit more consistent from one facility and one room to the next. There are a few other changes that I will highlight quickly. And the first one, sorry, let me just have notes. The one I want to comment on is regarding the seniors group. So it is going from $10 to $27. And so that does cover 3 hours. And so it works out to $9 per hour for the room. This does still represent a significant discount from the regular rate. The regular rate for those rooms would be approximately $90. So there's over $60 worth of savings for the seniors group still to use the room. What we're trying to achieve by the $27 is really to cover the variable cost of setup and tear down and cleanup of the room. And so we're still recognizing that it's an important group to the township, just trying to cover the costs that are incurred by the township by having the group in the room. The other group being impacted would be the youth group for baseball. My understanding, just of the history here. So previously to 2021, there was no charge for these groups. In 2021, it was introduced. It may have been missed in the bylaw turnover from 2021 to 2022. But there also wasn't a lot of baseball played in 2021. So the new charge wasn't able to be implemented from the start of the season, as it was so up in the air, given restrictions and whatnot. There is a $21 charge being proposed. Sorry, $10 being proposed from us. However, when we do a comparison to other municipalities, they all do a charge and they're at $21. So we're still significantly less than other municipalities. And again, this is to cover the variable costs of setting up and cleaning up the ball diamonds. The other key change I wanted to point out is for summer baseball. The basis of the charge is being changed from per game to per hour. And the reason for this is that every game, based on age, based on whatever it may be, can be very different from group to group. And so this captures more the actual use of the diamond rather than something that is a little bit more arbitrary, since it can be hard to quantify the actual length of each game. And there are some notes that were included in the summary of the proposed changes for each type of fee. If there's any other questions, we can cover it off between myself, Mike, and even Alana has been part of the discussions along the way.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Are we hoping to approve this tonight? Alana, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just realized or was made aware that the report wasn't attached. I believed it was a schedule. So if council isn't comfortable with that tonight, then we potentially could postpone it to the next council meeting. The only thing that I would ask is of Mike if that impacts the baseball rentals in any significantly negative way.
Through you, your worship. It does in the sense for minor ball in planning a price per player for youth. I know they've been very patient with us in the sense of trying to get something in order for so they can budget for the season essentially. So it not necessarily delays that, but I think they kind of are hoping to have something in order for this coming weeks.
Yeah, and I guess I certainly want to see something a little different for our seniors, that's for sure. So we can. What is your position, Carl? Go ahead.
I have a couple comments or a couple of questions first, and then a comment. I'm just curious. I assume the report would have included the estimated income increase per year that these new rates would generate. If the report didn't, perhaps at our next meeting or through email, we could get that estimate there. I'm always curious about how much increased income. And the other thing too is with September being very, very only a few months away, believe it or not, I assume we've got the process for billing the annual advertising board fees or invoices, that process dusted off and ready to go, because I think we've been a little bit tardy on that in the past, and that's income that's sitting on the table that we haven't collected. So those two questions, and then I have one further comment.
Who wants to try to answer that? Paul, go ahead.
Through your worship to Deputy Mayor Moore, for the arena advertisements, that's a note taken. I will definitely take that note and make sure that we're on the ball in terms of billing those fees. I can't speak to off the top of my head what's been done in the past, but I will make sure I work with both my staff and Parks and Rec staff to ensure that those get out in a timely manner. In terms of financial impact, to be quite frank, it'd be pretty difficult to determine the overall impact that some of these would have. And the reason being is a lot of this is a structural change to the fees. So in areas where we're not collecting, we used to charge for doing the lines for the baseball diamonds where, for administering the fee, it's now included. And so we're going to lose some in some areas, gain some in others, where a lot of the changes are to address both more of an administrative task. I know there are some changes. I could probably quantify some of the changes, but all of the changes in totality of this would be a pretty large undertaking, just because there would be a lot of assumptions along the way around what we lose for each one. I don't believe there's tracking to say this is how many line markings we did in the last 5 years. And I don't, given we're just restructuring the fees, I'm not sure there would be a large impact. Where I could, like I said, do a bit of an estimate would be the ones that are more of just a rate change, like the arena rentals, and then, like I said, the seniors group and the youth group. Those to me are more just purely a rate change, whereas a lot of the other ones are a structural change.
Carl, go ahead.
Okay, just comment on that. I think I wouldn't be looking for an exact amount, but a general understanding would be what more money is coming in the door. The expenses are there, whether we do the lines or we don't do the lines, or whether it's included or not included. That's all expense. I'm not looking for the expense part, just the income, what the income increase, general income would be. And I don't mean it tonight. The second thing is regarding the seniors rent. Both our community centers are primarily designed for youth and older people under 65 playing hockey or ball hockey or various other things. We have nothing in our community centers. We don't have fitness clubs. We don't have get together. And I would think I think that should be one loss leader of $10 per event, because it gives them an opportunity to get out of their house and be some activity. And I think that's something that we should, we've done loss leaders before, and I think that's one item that we should try to maintain in the future. They do an active role, and it's a group that partake in different dinners and euchre parties and so on. And if you need a motion, Mr. Chair, I would be happy to move a motion that we maintain that at $10 per event.
Yeah, I certainly support that. I know that the seniors have been the backbone of our community for years and years and years, and I think we need to support them any way we can. So go ahead, Carl.
I would move that we proceed with the rates presented to us, except for the seniors one, and maintain that at $10 per event.
Okay, second to that motion. Sheila, any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Sheila.
Yes, through you. Just curious, and it's a matter of pennies. Is there a reason that it's different expenses to rent the coffee urn at the Warsaw Arena or another municipal facility or something? It just seems like such a small amount, and I'm curious if there's a reason for the difference. One of them is $8.50 and another one is $7.47, and it seems a very minuscule thing.
Yeah, good thinking. Is there a reason for that? Is it just get caught up in the spreadsheet? Alana?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think we lost Paul. We actually did go through most of those and tried to make them all the same. So I will ask Paul to take a look at the notes and determine whether or not it was supposed to be the 7 and change or the 8. The only other thing I would request with the motion for the Seniors Club, if it's specific to the Douro seniors, or if you're looking at seniors in general, just so that we itemize it on the user fee bylaw and we make it very clear.
I would suggest the Douro seniors, but if another seniors group did surface, I'm sure they could come to us. Yeah. Okay, is that okay with everybody? We ready? All in favor? That motion is approved. Okay, thank you. Action items, letter from Douro Minor Hockey. You have in your package with a number of requests for upgrading our facilities, particularly the Douro Arena, perhaps looking at a second pad at the rink. Probably something we should have put on the planning table years ago, but regardless, they make some points. How do you want to handle that? You all have the letter? Heather, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, you are correct. There are a lot of points on that letter, and I think that there's certainly points worth exploring. And certainly, I support the initiative that Douro Minor Hockey is undertaking. When we're ready, I see a number of my colleagues also have their hands up, but I'd like to make a motion when we're ready for one.
Okay, questions? We're not into debating what Heather said. If you have any questions, go ahead, Carl. I'll go back to Heather later.
Just a comment. There's some excellent points made there. Really good sound efficiency issues that would be could work very well. It would make even the marketing of the center better for fun weekends, for out-of-town tournaments, great revenue sources. So something to consider anyway. Looking forward to it.
No, they're on the money. I pat them on the back. Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment also. Well, a couple. Thank you very much. This is it is definitely something we have to look at in the future. There's more and more need for this. The only thing I would have to consider that I don't quite agree with is at the end of the one paragraph that the Warsaw Arena is reaching the end of life. I don't agree with that at all. I'm sorry, but I think there's still lots of life left in that arena. It's great for the smaller groups to look at and play in, and we're just going to spend a whole bunch more money on it. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we can get another 25 or 30 years out of it. It's a good facility. It was well built.
Okay, that we weren't in the debate, but Heather, I'll let you make a motion and then people can debate if they like. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. My motion is, whereas many communities in our region have undertaken significant improvement projects at their arenas in recent years, and whereas provincial and federal funding programs often require that capital projects are shovel-ready, and whereas the property at the Douro Community Centre can accommodate future growth and expansion, and whereas Douro Minor Hockey is a strong organization that has provided healthy recreation opportunities for children and youth for generations. Therefore, be it resolved that a working group be established comprising of staff, a member of council, and representatives from Douro Minor Hockey to explore options outlined in the letter. And before the floors open up, I would be a council member willing to sit on that committee should no other member of council wish to do so.
You're muted, Mr. Mayor.
I was just seeing if you noticed, Carl.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go ahead. That motion is seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Sheila.
Yes, thank you. Through you, I think I don't know enough about hockey, and I apologize for that. It just seems to me that something like that would be an enormous cost. And we seem to be quite content to get into large projects. And from the cost point of view, I don't believe I would support it. I like I say, I don't know enough about hockey to know how much we use it or how much more beneficial it would be. It probably would be, but it just seems to me that it would be quite a large cost.
Carl,
Just in support of the motion, the resolution is basically to establish a working group to look at it. And I think that's all we're not committing to anything. And I think we can be open to new ideas. Certainly there's ideas in this letter that was signed by, looks like Vice President Jim Bailey on behalf of the Douro Minor Hockey. It isn't just hockey. It could be a fitness place. It could be a running track for the wintertime. There's many people walking on roads that get pretty muddy in the wintertime or mucky in the winter. And this could be a perfect opportunity for that as well. So I think the working group is worthwhile. It may not come to pass for many, many years. I thank the mover for moving forward with the well-worded resolution.
any other discussion on the motion? Call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is approved. Okay, we have no notices of motion. Any community announcements? Anyone has? Go ahead, Tom.
Sorry, I was trying to reach about 4 different hands to get that little hand up. Just that I was told today that the Lions Club is looking at starting cruise nights again this late spring, early summer, stuff like that in our
May
Lions Park.
25th,
So
yep.
that's very nice to hear. So
25th of May. Okay, we're going to go into closed session now. If I can have a motion for the reasons being outlined, excuse me, in the Municipal Act. Tom? And Heather, all in favor? Motion is approved. We'll take just a couple of minutes break while Martina stops the recording and tells us to resume.